Hey everybody, welcome back. And in this one we're going to make a quick video about something that I thought about today. And that is the face name effect. Now as I say that, you may be wondering, face name effect? God, I think I kind of know what that is. And you might. You've probably actually dealt with it once, twice, maybe several times in your life. Where either you said to someone else or someone said to you, man, I know your name's this, but you look like this person's name. Like, I know your name's Eric, but man, you look like a Brad. Or man, I know your name's Sharon, but you look like a Tina to me. We've all been there, right? Or somebody said, man, you look like a this. Don't take offense, because this is actually really typical. Because what the face name effect is, it's a psychological term for the connection between someone's facial features and their name. We actually have like an effect name for this. It happens so often, it's so prevalent. So where does this really come from? Well, let's cover a couple things. We have something called an aptonym, which is a proper name that aptly describes the occupation or character of the person, especially by coincidence. Like Cutters and Sons Butchers, or Dr. Childer, pediatrician. See how he has Childer, like child, and he's a pediatrician. Cutter and Sons, they cut like a butcher. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, attorneys at law. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Oh, I get it. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, attorneys at law. I get it. Okay, that one was a really good one. So we've all dealt with this face name effect, and we've all heard these aptonyms before. There's some good scientific reasoning behind why this effect happens. Follow along in this same vein as far as effects are social stereotyping of a name, which is the fact that each name, whether we like it or not, carries a certain social stereotype about what someone with that name might look like, how they might act, the type of personality they may have because of this name. And because we have these preconceived conditions of what these names might mean, when we meet this person, we're going to have some level of these expectations. Now, most of the time, we're smart enough to know that, okay, not everybody named Arnold is going to have won Mr. Universe. But however, when you meet somebody named Arnold, you're like, oh, Arnold. I wonder if he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is he going to look? You're already comparing him or her to this other person somehow or another. And that's the stereotypes that we have socially for names. And because we have these, you're going to be told over time that maybe you don't look like your name. Maybe, I know your name's Bob, but man, dude, you look like a Rick to me. Like, I've been told I look like Steve Nash. Now, if enough time had passed where people kept telling me, man, you look like Steve Nash, I might be like, let me look into this Steve Nash. And if you like the person, you might try to actually emulate them a little bit. That's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. You may even do this if you don't like the person. Because over time, individuals may subtly adjust their appearance to match the expectations associated with their name from the public. You're going to match their expectations, which kind of reinforces the stereotype. Like a Bob constantly being told what a Bob is going to eventually act like a Bob. So he fits the mold that people think he should be in. Not everybody does this. Some people are like, I don't really care, and that's fine too. It's fine to fit the mold. It doesn't really matter. The point is these things happen. And that's why, every once in a while, someone tells you look like somebody you're not. So go ahead and take it as a compliment. But it's not really your compliment. It's a compliment to the person they're thinking you look like. Because in that person's head, a certain view of that name is held in their mind by some influence, whether it be family member, maybe they just see a couple people with that name that looks similar. Maybe there's a cultural influence with the name that everybody thinks, like, for instance, back in the Braveheart days, Robert the Bruce was a big influence. There was pictures of him, everywhere. People knew what he looked like. So if your name was Robert, you would have been held to this social stereotype of what a Robert the Bruce is, and it might become a self-fulfilling prophecy that you try to become a leader and a duke, act dukely. Or if you're born in the 90s with Robert Van Winkle, Ice Baby. Actually, we didn't call him Robert Van Winkle, though. We called him Vanilla Ice. Do you know why people come up with these stage names? But Robert Van Winkle didn't use his name, did he? He used what's called a pseudonym, which is a false name. In pop culture, in Hollywood, you have your band names, you have your pseudonyms. These are like stage names and pen names that people use as writers. They kind of keep you a little separated from your project in a sense. You don't want to be going around saying, hey man, I'm Robert Van Winkle. That doesn't sound like a rapper's name. Vanilla Ice, at least in the 90s, sounded like a rapper's name. Eminem, his name's Marshall Mathers. 2 M's, M and M. Kind of clever, right? He's actually a really good example of using these types of etymologies. Eminem loves this. He thrives. His music thrives off of using things like this. Thesaurus. He loves what he loves thesauruses and dictionaries, okay? He just loves them. This type of shit's in there. That's what I'm getting at. So I hope you enjoyed my little breakdown of why somebody's been calling you Susan. This is why this shit happens, folks. It's kind of normal. Don't take offense to it. Sometimes you just look like somebody's Brian, and your name might be Nick. Show them that you're not a Brian, you're a Nick, and this is what some Nicks look like. Maybe that's your goal when you get told that. It's like, no, let me show you. This is what Robs do. I'm not some old chubby guy at the office, okay? Some Bob. I'm Bobbert, okay? I'm cool. I'm jazzy. Again, don't take offense. This is just somebody's telling you that they like you, maybe. You look like somebody they know. You've become familiar to them, and that's a good thing. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next one.